Hey YouTube, this is going to be a tutorial video where I'm going to walk through how to set up a audio streaming server from your Mac to the internet so that whatever you say on your mic or in an app like iTunes or some other audio app or fart soundboard, whatever you want to do from your Mac gets sent out to the internet to an audio streaming server so that folks can have, you can have like maybe a podcast live stream without having to use services like YouTube and sending video. Maybe you just want to send audio. This would be for you. What prompted this all is Audio Hijack just recently received an update, version 3.5, that adds the ability to broadcast audio out to the internet from within the app. We've been able to do this before using an app they actually built before called Nicecast, and so it wasn't that difficult before, but now it's kind of all under one app, and I thought it would make for a good screencast to show you how to do it. So what I'm going to do is walk you through how to set up a live streaming server with an Icecast server that we're going to pay for each month, and how to send audio from your Mac to that server. So if you don't already have it, you need to get Audio Hijack installed. That you can do over at rogueamoeba.com. It's probably easier to copy and paste from the description below or link from the description below than trying to type out Rogue Amoeba. I always mess up the E's and O's in there. And you can do the free download, which will give you, I think it's about, it gives you 10 to 20 minutes of testing on the audio before it starts to degrade the audio quality. But of course, you can also buy it, which is much recommended, 59 bucks. It's probably one of the best. It's like a toolbox for audio on the Mac, and I feel like it's almost required to have if you're doing any sort of podcasting. They actually have this podcast bundle, which I use all these apps except for Fission is their audio editor. I don't use that, but Audio Hijack, Loopback, Farrago, I'll cover in this video, and so you can definitely, heartily recommend getting all of their apps, but you can maybe just do one of the bundles and start there. So here's what we're going to cover in this screencast. The goal is to be able to stream audio from a Mac out to the internet so that anybody can go to a web page and just see it. They don't have to have anything else installed. It'll just play off the web page off their computer or even their iPhone. So the update to Audio Hijack adds the ability to do that, and you can stream it out to a Shoutcast or an Icecast server. And it's confusing as to which one is better, and I don't totally know if I have it all right here, but Icecast basically is open source, so that means any nerd can sort of mess around with the code. It supports all the formats you see there, including Ogg Vorbis and Ogg Theora, which are open source audio formats. So again, it means you're not tied to any particular company's licensing for the audio. And the big one, I think, and why we had used it back on goodstuff.fm when we were streaming just audio, is it supports the ability for multiple feeds on the same port. And so that means you can very easily switch from, say, an auto DJ where it's just playing maybe some previously recorded audio to a live stream without interrupting your listeners. And so you're not losing them. They don't have to refresh the browser. They don't have to come back and reload the web page. The audio just keeps playing. It is a bit more, Icecast is a bit more difficult to set up, but hopefully with this video, it won't be. Shoutcast was owned. I don't know if it's still owned by AOL. As you can see, it has a few less formats, notably the Ogg Vorbis format it doesn't support, and it can only handle one feed at a time, but it is apparently easier to set up. So here's our checklist for the video. We're going to start off by getting Audio Hijack installed, which I already do. If you haven't already, download it and install it. And the next thing we're going to do is actually sign up for a plan for an Icecast hosting plan at Shoutcheap. So switching over to the browser, shoutcheap.com is, you can do Shoutcast or Icecast streaming from their service. So either or. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see they give you a few different plans that you can choose, $4.95, $5.95 on up. Basically, the various plans give you the option of choosing what kind of quality of audio you want to send out to the internet. So keep in mind, these are the starting prices. So depending on the next screen, we'll see how many listeners you might allow for on your podcast. But just for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to keep it simple and cheap because you're not paying for this, and I'm not making a bunch of money off of this. Patreon.com/iChris. You can support me there if you want to. But we'll keep it cheap with 64 kilobits per second audio streaming capabilities. So now there's, starting at $5.95, you can go on up depending on how many listeners you want to be able to have access to your stream at one time. So chances are, if you're just starting out, you probably only need the 25 listeners. But of course, various options are there if you think you're going to have way more listeners. I would think if you're using this for podcasting and not like for internet radio, and you want to live stream your podcast, I would really recommend looking at something like Twitch or YouTube, where you could use something like OBS and other streaming apps to allow for you to send video if you want to, but you don't even have to. You can just put a placeholder. And I have an inkling, maybe an idea anyways, that Rogue Amoeba might eventually allow for Audio Hijack to stream out to Twitch and stuff like that, even if you are just doing audio. But I don't know that for sure. I just kind of hope they do, and it would make sense that it would be on their roadmap. So I'm going to get started with the $5.95 a month plan. Choose your billing cycle. You can choose, obviously, if you want to do it annually or whatever. And I'm going to leave everything as it is. There's one mount point included, which I think will be fine. I'm not going to worry about HTTPS, but you probably should if you're doing this on the regular. It's probably a good idea. Google will punish you a little bit for not having HTTPS. I'm not that concerned about it for this demo, but it's something to consider for a long-term project if it's something that's going to live on at your website for a while. Check out. Okay, so I already had an account with Shoutcheap from previously when we used to use it with goodstuff.fm, but you'll have to set up an account and obviously enter your credit card or PayPal details. I'm going to tap complete order. So because I'm using PayPal, it'll be start an automatic subscription through my PayPal account, which then I can cancel if I'm not going to keep this going indefinitely. All right, so my IceCast server is now configured. I have it on there. It's ready to go. I can click here and view details of it. And within my details here, I can log on to CentovaCast, which is actually where you configure the actual streaming side of it. So this is where it gets a little bit confusing because Shoutcheap itself is sort of like your admin, where you handle your billing and your account details. CentovaCast is how you actually configure and manage your server, your IceCast server. So it's going to log me in automatically. There's a whole bunch of options here and probably more than I can go into right now, but we're going to just go into settings here. And I can change the stream title if I want. This is what gets shown on the player when someone is playing back listening live. And so we can just change it to even just Lemon Productions live stream test. You don't have to have your email address in there. This is just entirely up to you. You can leave your organization. You can put your actual website address in there if you want. I'm not going to change the password. My time zone is in Saskatchewan. But again, this isn't really a big deal. I can click update. Oh, I have to have an email address, I guess. And then you always have to restart like the server here, reload, stop and reload, or just reload. Oh, no, sorry, you don't have to for IceCast servers. If you're doing something else, you would. The most important information on this page is the IP address and the port number. So I'm going to throw that in my notes here. IceCast server details. It's kind of handy to have it all in one text document or Google Doc or whatever you like to use, just so it's easy to reference and you don't have to go hunting through a website to find it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is configure Audio Hijack and get that side set up so that we can stream things to our IceCast server. So flip over to Audio Hijack. Within the new, you'll know if you have the new version basically already installed, if you've upgraded to it, and you can see there's a template for internet radio, broadcast to an online radio server. So we'll start with that template anyways, and then do a little bit of configuring from there. Okay, so this is the basic template that they give you to start with. It's assuming you want to stream from iTunes and your internal microphone, and gives you some meters to check what your levels are like, and then you're going to broadcast somewhere, and then also send it back to your internal speakers so you can hear it. So that's the sort of the path that audio is going to take. So in my case, I'm going to change this first of all to being my actual microphone, the more expensive microphone that sounds a lot better. And just go to advanced, and I want just channel 1 because that's all I'm using off of it, off the Scarlett device. And just to keep things simple and legal, instead of using iTunes, I'm going to use another app that can play audio for me just to demo this, called Pretzel, which plays license-free, copyright-free music. And so right now, I haven't set up anything with a broadcast, and the output device I'll just change to I'm using ScreenFlow to record this. I think I might have to do that in order for us to all hear it if I hit record. Yeah, so I don't have that configured. So right now I'm not recording this in any way. It's just what's going out to the internet. So a few things. So I'm just going to move this a little bit further apart here so we can have a little bit of room to breathe. So obviously whatever gets sent through this broadcast block is going to send it out to the streaming service. So you want to be aware, obviously, that you're doing that. Whatever you're sending is going to go out and anybody potentially could hear it. Let's configure the broadcast settings. So we can worry about metadata and stuff later, but setup basically is we can have it auto detect if we want, just to leave it there. So our host name is this IP address. And the port was 8077. And let's go back to here and /stream is the mount port. And because we're only using, what did we say, 64 kilobits per second, that's all we need to send. Of course, you could send higher audio, but it would be wasted because I believe it will downgrade it for you. So let's just start with this and just see if that's going to connect. I don't know if we have to do the username and password. We'll find out pretty quickly here. Okay. Yeah, bad password. So let's stop this and get the username and password. Okay, so if we go back to our Shoutcheap server configuration page, you can grab the source password here and click show. I think that's what show means, and copy and paste that. Of course, all the passwords are going to be gone. I'm not going to keep this thing running beyond this. So don't bother trying to copy those, and just paste that into the password field here. Now, if I click start, it's connecting, and according to that, it's on air. And I'm just noticing the admin panel requires, in order to actually play it, it also requires Flash, which I don't actually have running in Safari. So I'm just going to fire up Chrome. Okay, so I've got the page in Chrome, and let's see if I can not hear myself. So I think it's working. So I think it's working. Yeah, so there's a bit of a delay from what I say it to when it goes out onto the audio stream, which is normal. Yeah, so there's a bit of a delay from what I say it to when it goes out onto the audio stream, which is normal. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Audio Hijack. I'm going to stop that. So we know it's all working. It's connected. Everything seems to be working fine. Back in Audio Hijack now, if I wanted to, just a few little extras here. I could add a recorder. If I wanted to just also keep a local copy of whatever I'm streaming out for, maybe it's a podcast. So whether I keep it in MP3 format or I want to record it in high quality AAC so that I can have it kept for later, or uncompressed AFF for editing in Logic or something else, that's certainly an option. I'm not going to do that right now just to save on, so it doesn't save file sizes or save a bunch of audio files on my desktop. You could very easily add other audio applications or other devices. So let's say I want to add another application in to this chain. And let's send it here. And I'm going to use Rogue Amoeba's other app called Farrago, which is their sound app. So it's a soundboard app. I've got a bunch of sound effects from another podcast that I added called Shop Talk Show. So this should play.
Oh, I come up with a thing. I got to come up with my book apart book, every blog.
So it's just a.
Can I interest you in some jQuery?
Really cool app for.
I told Siri to call me Batman one time.
Playing back audio. So it can be for fun, or it can be serious. Like if you have, for my other podcast, I do have an intro that I play. Can stop it and trigger it, things like that. Or there's a sample set, so you can have some soundboards, or I do a YouTube podcast, and so then we have some of the funny things people have said over the years. We have folks saying silly things.
You know what else I don't like?
That kind of thing. So this isn't a Farrago demo, but it's a very cool app that I would recommend checking out. And
Grabowski.
all right. So now that's in our queue. Maybe let's say I don't need the meters for that one because it's just an audio app going, but it would be a good idea to have an audio meter at all times, just so you can verify that you're not blasting people with audio. So let's put one more in there just for fun. And what else we're going to do? I think that's it. Got enough going on. One other just quick peek at Loopback is another Rogue Amoeba app that allows you to basically sort of combine a bunch of apps into one device. So what I've done, what I do for our live streaming stuff that we do at goodstuff.fm is generally when I'm doing video and audio is I'll combine say Farrago, the soundboard, the audio app Pretzel, music playing app, and then maybe the game. Let's say I'm recording Fortnite or whatever, Minecraft and stuff, and sending that to the live stream as well. I can bundle those all together into one audio device and send that. So that could be its own capture audio device here. Would be Ecamm Livestream is what I think I called it, or Mimo Livestream, sorry. Too many audio devices that I test with. And then that would also send, on its own, that could send the audio from a bunch of stuff all at once. So if it's stuff I'm not worried about changing levels on and things like that. And it's not so much for Audio Hijack, because Audio Hijack can obviously, you can set up multiple applications, multiple input devices, system audio, and send it all individually if you want to. It's other apps that maybe only allow for one input, so you have to choose an input device, in which case then you need to be able to say send game audio, send soundboard audio, and maybe background music audio all at once. And so that's where Loopback comes in really handy, and why it's worth every penny that I paid for it, because it saves a whole bunch of headache in setting things up manually on the Mac. Okay, so I'm going to delete this block for now, right-click and delete, and just keep it simple with Pretzel, the audio music app, Farrago, the soundboard, and then my microphone and live stream. I'm going to just turn on the recorder here, I guess, just because in case I need to have a recording of this audio that I'm about to produce. And let's hit record. So it's going to turn on the live stream. I'm going to turn off my version of it so I don't hear it right away. It actually was coming through a lot quicker that time. So just so you can see now, I'm going to send Pretzel is going to start playing some music, which that's where I do need a bit of audio. So anyway, you can see that all of that is going out to the broadcast as well as out being recorded locally into a file. So that's great. I'm going to just stop that for now. Turn off Pretzel for now. And so the live stream now will stop as well. Okay, so we've got Audio Hijack connected to our IceCast server. Now we need to have a way for listeners to go to some web page somewhere that isn't some weird numbers and stuff to be able to listen to that. So what we can do is inside Shoutcheap is there's widgets, and you can use some of these if you want to, if you're web savvy enough to say have a web player where you'd insert this code on your web page where you'd want it, and then this code here would go into the HTML of your site at the bottom of your web page. It's using JavaScript. It's kind of a little bit janky and not the best way to do it in 2018, but that could certainly work. The way I would recommend doing it is if probably a lot of you would have a WordPress website that you're running. And so we're going to go, this is my WordPress website for my Lemon Productions website, lemonproductions.ca. We're going to go add a new plugin. We're going to do a search for IceCast. And there's there's a bunch of them, and some of them might work better than others. I haven't tested them all right now, but we're going to use this Showcast IceCast server. It's got 4,000 active installations, way more than everything else, so hopefully it is a little more supported. It was updated 3 weeks ago, so it's fairly current. And I'll click Activate. Okay, so now we'll go over to Settings, I'm guessing, Showcast Player. So you can see it gives you the demo here, or the idea of what you need. So Icecast server IP/port/stream name. So on our document, we have server IP port was 8077 slash, oh, I didn't keep it handy. I know, I can just check here. /stream, right? There we go. I'll put that back in the document here. /stream. So let's go back to our server. /stream. We're going to change this to an Icecast server. We'll just leave this all the same. I don't have anything for Facebook right now. Well, let's just do mine and the Twitter details there. And now we can generate the player code. So that's the short code that we can put into a page. So let's see, hopefully this all works. I've got a page made. Where did I put live streaming audio draft? Put the page, that short code in, hit publish. We're okay with whatever proofreading issues might be there. And then let's load it and just see if it actually has the little player. It won't be playing anything right now. Nothing. Okay, so now let's try loading up in Audio Hijack. We're going to hit play, or record, I guess. So that's on air. And let's put some music on. Let's try reloading this here. Okay, so it's playing there. Let's see now if it's... Let's put the... May have forgotten to put the HTTP in there. That's what's messing it up. We'll just see here. HTTP in there. That's what's messing it up. We'll just see here. So there you go. So you could, of course, that's like probably one of, it might be, in my opinion, one of the uglier players, but you can customize it. You can mess around with it. They've got obviously some more players. That's just that one particular way of doing it. All right, so that's how it works basically to get from Audio Hijack now out to the internet, to your web page, to wherever you embed the audio player, and then you can direct people to that page and they can listen live to whatever you happen to be saying on the internet. And then you can also, I won't get into it on this discussion, but within Shoutcheap you could have a DJ set up which allows you to basically pre-play other pre-recorded audio. So if you had maybe past episodes of your podcast, you could have it autoplay for you, music, anything you want, basically any sort of audio file, you can have it queued up and just looping so that when people visit your webpage, no matter whether you're actually doing something live or not, it's going to be playing music or audio of some form. You can, of course, add things like chat rooms if you wanted to embed a live chat discussion here. This is where, again, like having something like what we use on Good Stuff with Twitch and streaming video is kind of handy because it takes care of all that for you. You just basically, you have to know how to configure OBS or some sort of video streaming app and have a computer that's powerful enough to do it, but it does take care of a chat room and a video stream and all that kind of stuff that you don't really have to worry about anymore. But what this does allow you to do with Audio Hijack is really nice because it's not very heavy on the computer. It's, in order to send an audio stream, is and your internet bandwidth too, for that matter, much less required of your computer, of your internet connection. You're sending, especially at this lower rate, is 64 kilobits per second, whereas like to send HD video is somewhere between 3 to 5 megabits per second, and 4K video would be even higher, obviously. So to keep things on the down low, on the cheap, this is a great option to consider. And of course, if you want to be like internet DJ dude or gal, then running your server this way is a great option to go with. So stop this for now. Turn off the live stream. Okay, let's go back to our checklist. Make sure I actually covered everything. So we signed up for a plan for Shoutcheap. We configured Shoutcheap. We set up Audio Hijack to capture from the microphone, from a music source, and from a soundboard app. We set up a website to stream from, and then we tested out the stream. So there we go. That's soup to nuts, almost, of setting up your own internet radio station of some form for audio broadcasting out to the web. All right, if you've got questions, comments about that, I know I breezed over some stuff, and there's lots more options inside Shoutcheap where things could go horribly wrong. Feel free to throw them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those. If you've got questions about Rogue Amoeba apps and maybe how to say Rogue Amoeba, feel free to put those in the comments below as well. I'm a big fan of, like I said earlier, all their apps. And I think if you're doing any sort of audio work, streaming, podcasting, gaming out to the web, out to Twitch and things like that, YouTube gaming, it's on the Mac. It's an indispensable app to have. Audio Hijack is. And then also their related apps, Farrago, Loopback, also worth picking up if you want to mess around with any of that kind of stuff that allows you to play back random audio samples and or loop game audio and whatever else audio you happen to grab in through Loopback. So feel free to throw a thumbs up in the thing below there, or like, comment, rate, review, all the YouTube stuff that you do at this point. You can also support me on Patreon directly if you'd like to. Patreon, patreon.com/iChris. And that goes towards stuff with the YouTube channel as well as goodstuff.fm, the podcasting network I do. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye. Hey, YouTube. This is not going to be quick.